Steam just dropped the official Best of 2025 list, and if you're a high-level executive at a major AAA publisher, you're probably having a very bad day. Every year, Valve releases the Platinum tier, the top 12 highest grossing games on the entire platform. Usually, this list is a fortress of $70 blockbusters and massive live service titles, but this year, the fortress has been breached. Sitting right alongside billion-dollar franchises like Monster Hunter Wilds and EA Sports FC 26 are two independent titles that have no business being here if you follow traditional industry logic. Hollow Knight Silksong and Schedule 1. But here's the part that should terrify the big studios. Most of the games on the list cost $70. Silksong and Schedule 1, they cost $20. If you do the math for an indie game to generate the same gross revenue as a $70 AAA giant, it doesn't just need to do well. It needs to sell nearly 4 times the amount. Today, we're going to break down the numbers, the math behind this slap in the face, and why 2025 is the year the Steam community officially voted against the $70 standard. Before we take a look at the winners, Valve recently released the 2025 Steam Year in Review, and it contained a statistic that should be a wake-up call for the entire industry. According to the official recap, only 14% of total user playtime on Steam in 2025 was spent on games released in 2025. Despite the massive marketing pushes for Battlefield, Civilization 7, and Monster Hunter, 86% of the time, Steam users were playing older games. 44% of playtime went to games 1 to 7 years old, and a massive 40% went to classics, which were 8 years or older. This 14% figure is actually a decline from the 15% we saw in 2024. This tells us that the new release market is more crowded and more competitive than ever, as we are reaching just around 20,000 games released this year. So when an indie game like Silksong or Schedule 1 manages to fight its way into the Platinum revenue tier, the top 12 games on the platform, they aren't just competing with other new games. They are fighting for that tiny 14% slice of the pie against the most successful games in history. In a year where people are playing less new games overall, the fact that these indies dominated the revenue charts is a massive hit to the AAA ecosystem. Now let's look at the actual top new releases of 2025 by revenue. In no particular order as it is randomized, the Platinum tier includes Monster Hunter Wilds, Civilization 7, Elden Ring Night Reign, Borderlands 4, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, EA Sports FC 26, Battlefield 6, Arc Raiders, Dune Awakening, Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Schedule 1. Have you noticed the price difference? Every other game on this list is backed by a publisher with a marketing budget larger than the development budget of most indies. Take Battlefield 6, where it was reported that they went over their $400 million budget. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of developers and people working on these titles. Meanwhile, Silksong was made by 3 people at Team Cherry, and for Schedule 1, it was just a solo developer. But when you look even closer at that Platinum list, a disturbing trend for big publishers gets revealed. In 2025, being a bestseller no longer means you are a best-liked game. Let's just look at the scores for these AAA giants. Civilization 7 is currently sitting at mixed. Players cite a controversial UI and a soft reset ages system that polarized the longtime fanbase. Monster Hunt Wilds, also mixed. While the gameplay is praised, the PC optimization at launch was so demanding that many struggled to maintain 60 FPS. EA Sports FC 26, also mixed. The community continues to push back against aggressive monetization and a perceived lack of innovation in career mode. Borderlands 4, mixed. It's a looter shooter that was filled with performance issues. But when we look at the indies that were only made with a few hands, Silksong is holding a very positive rating. Despite some criticism over its brutal difficulty and a localization review bombing incident in China, the core Steam audience remains supportive of the quality to price ratio. Schedule 1 is the undisputed champion of the year. It sits at overwhelmingly positive, around 98% positive. This is the definition of a quality gap. The games with the smallest budgets have the highest player satisfaction. The games with the largest budgets, the ones that need a high price tag to break even, are the ones players are most frustrated with. Now let's talk about the math of the Steam economy. Steam's year-end tiers are based on gross revenue, total dollars earned, not copies sold. If a game like Civilization 7 or Borderlands 4 sells 3 million copies at $70, it generates $210 million in gross revenue. For Silksong or Schedule 1 to reach that same revenue milestone at their $20 price point, they have to sell 10.5 million copies. This means that for every one person playing a AAA blockbuster on this list, there are potentially 3 to 4 people playing the indie alternative. On Steam, player base is power. A larger player base means more concurrent players, more community engagement, and more playtime, all of which feed back into Valve's discovery algorithm. In 2025, we saw this directly in action. Schedule 1, despite being a gritty, low-poly sim, it peaked at over 450 concurrent players. To put that into perspective, that's higher than the peak for Borderlands 4 and FC26 combined. We are seeing a shift where the middle class of gaming, the $20 to $40 range, is actually the new high end in terms of community engagement. Now, we need to have a talk about the elephant in the room. Hollow Knight Silksong was a day one Xbox Game Pass title. Standard industry advice says that if a game is free on a subscription service, its sales on other platforms will be impacted. Some analysts estimate that a Game Pass launch can cannibalize up to 80% of premium sales. But look at the 2025 Steam charts. Even with millions of people having access to Silksong, it's still sold enough at full price on Steam to hit the platinum revenue tier. This is a massive flex for Valve. It proves that the Steam community is just fundamentally different. Steam users value the Valve ecosystem, the achievements, the mod support via Workshop, the Steam Deck optimization, and the simple desire to have a game in their library, more than they value free access on a competing launcher. Plus, while Silksong had the benefit of a 6-year hype cycle, Schedule 1 is the real Steam success story of this year. This game had a marketing budget of effectively $0. Instead of expensive cinematic trailers, the developer TVGS focused on the Steam loop. It started off with Steam Next Fest, as they dropped a demo that became one of the most played of the year, converting millions of curious players into wishlisters. Then they got into the discovery queue. By launching with an overwhelmingly positive rating and a low price count, Steam's algorithm did the work for them. And as more people tried it out and noticed they enjoyed the game, it slowly started to get picked up by big creators. The game's drug empire simulation was perfect for high-stakes Twitch and YouTube content, which only grew the game even more. Estimates suggest that Schedule 1 cleared $125 million in gross revenue. For a AAA game like Dune Awakening, $125 million might just barely cover the cost of development and marketing. For a team the size of TVGS, $125 million is generational wealth. This is the ultimate slap in the face. The big gaming business model is becoming high risk and low reward. The Steam indie model, focused on higher quality, lower priced, polished releases of games people actually want to play, is proving to be low risk and high reward. Plus, there is obviously tons of other great indie games from this year, and we can't just name them all, but these two in particular made it straight to the top of the platform, competing and even beating some of the top games released this year. Something that should be a wake-up call to AAA developers. So what is the takeaway from the 2025 Steam charts? It is that the standard $70 AAA experience is no longer the default for the Steam player. We are witnessing a quality over budget revolution. When 4 of the biggest games of the year launch with mixed reviews and struggle to outperform a $20 game made by one guy, the message is pretty be clear. The Steam community is tired of being treated like a revenue stream for bloated projects. The 2025 charts prove that on Steam, you don't buy your way to the top. You have to earn it. And this year, 2 indies earned it more than almost anyone else. But I want to hear it from you. Did you find yourself playing more indies or AAA titles this year? And do you think we'll see more $20 games in the Platinum tier in 2026? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe to stay updated on all Steam news for 2026.